Welcome back. Power prices are set to rise again after regulators propose to lift the cap by 9% in some areas, increasing household bills by up to $140. Energy Minister Luke Bona has conceded that costs are too high amid speculation that energy rebates could be extended in the upcoming budget. But as the election looms, will this be the last straw for voters struggling to make ends meet for their take? Let's bring in columnist Susie O'Brien and broadcaster Luke Bona. Morning, Susie. Energy, it's going to be massive because cost of living is, I think, the number one issue going into this election campaign.
Yeah, and this is really bad news for Albo. I mean, he was elected this time around on the cost of, easing the squeeze, cutting the cost of living. There's a lot of pressure on both sides of politics to get this right. And, we've got a federal budget coming up next week, and you almost think off the back of this, they're going to be doubling whatever handouts people are getting. I mean, 80% of people say they want something in their hand in the federal budget. They want some sort of handout. But, the other thing people want is better regulation of the power industry. I mean, how is it that we're reliant on shopping around to make sure we're on the right plan? We just want it to be simple. We just want it to be fair, and we want to pay as little as possible.
Yeah, look, a lot of people just don't understand how we got into this mess, do we?
Yeah, well, there is a way around this, and subsidies is possibly one. It's like when the government relaxed fuel excise, that was only a stopgap measure. If you're going to give subsidies and if you're going to encourage people, for example, to put solar panels on their roofs and harvest their own power, we've got to start developing batteries that can store that power. We have the technology. I mean, we invented Wi-Fi, for goodness sake. We can do that. But also, we've got to stop demonising coal until we get renewables correct. I sound like a broken record, but we're shutting down coal-fired power stations. We can generate our own power. We can make it affordable. And Peter Dutton's thought bubble about getting into nuclear, that's a 30-year plan. People want relief right now. So let's look after solar panels. Let's give us a decent price for the electricity that we're generating. If the sun doesn't shine, we need to store that power. We need batteries that are reliable and safe. We can do it. It's not like the price of petrol where we're relying on Singapore and other countries. We can actually do this here. We've got to harvest it and we've got to get smart.
Yeah, but have you looked into solar panels on your roof? My roof is not big enough. It's not facing the right way. And the battery was like 10 grand. This is not fair. And so they said no. I mean, this is not the solution for everybody, is it?
No, it's absolutely not. But for those people who do have solar and putting that power that they don't use back into the grid, let's store that. And that will bring down the price if we can all share it. People who live in high-rise apartments can't have solar panels. Exactly. But there is a way to do it. But we've got to get smart and we've got to invent batteries that are reliable and safe.
And cheaper. Well, moving on, it's been revealed that an estimated 80,000 kids are just completely missing from our nation's education system. Dubbed ghost children, the cohort of kids is made up of those who failed to return to the education system after the pandemic and nationwide lockdowns. Susie, they seem like they've vanished into thin air.
Oh, this is just such a massive issue, and it's playing out across the whole age spectrum. I mean, my son, who's 21 now, was in the class of 2021. You did year 12 in the age of COVID. He's got friends who the mums say have failed to adult. They can't get out of bed. They're not working, they're not studying, they just haven't, the mental health issues are so profound. And, attendance at school is just gone through the floor. In Victoria, for example, where kids basically spent 2 years in their bedrooms, a third of kids are missing at least a day, a fortnight of school. I mean, it is an absolute epidemic. These kids, they're not going to school. What are they doing? It's absolutely, as I say, it's playing out across the age ranges.
Yeah, Luke, I read that 73% of kids are finishing year 12. Is that bad? Do we need to go back to letting kids leave in year 10 and go and be tradies? We need tradies instead of forcing kids almost, or making it seem really bad if you don't finish year 12. Yeah,
well, I've been saying this for a long, long time. We've got to stop trying to push university degrees onto kids who aren't academic and put some more pride back into kids wanting to become apprentices. When we have a tradie shortage here in Australia. I mean, when was the last time you tried to get a plumber or a sparky and look at the price? And you talk to any employer, they can't find young kids who want to get their hands dirty. So we've got to encourage that. But let's get back to this anxiety. The story in the Herald Sun I saw was a woman whose young boy is feeling so anxious about going to school because he's used to staying home during COVID, they don't know how to socialise anymore. And it's the same for people, adults in the workplace, who got used to working from home. Yeah. And then when they're told to go back to the office, they don't know how to socialise anymore. So I think young impressionable kids who are feeling anxious, who haven't been socially developed during those 3 years of COVID, they need serious help. I mean, over 80,000 kids not going to school, 3 out of 10. Yeah. 3 out of 10 kids aren't going to school apparently because they feel anxious. It really needs to be addressed because we're in trouble down the track when all these kids have just dropped out of school with no qualifications, no education, and then what happens? Are they on the dole?
Yeah, exactly. What's happening here? OK, thank you. We'll see you next week. Here's Sheva.
Thank you.